I'm losing respect for my father because of the way he treats my mom. 26M. It's only been recently that I started losing a lot of respect towards him. I still live with my parents because we're not very comfortable financial wise, so we use our combined income to pay for mortgage. Throughout my entire life I've seen my dad verbally and mentally abuse my mom, gaslighting her and holding grudges for small and petty mistakes she's done that anyone could easily look past at, but not him. Small and petty things like her not being able to remember certain directions when she's driving while he's the passenger. He will belittle her and make her feel stupid, then get angry. Keeping tabs of important belongings she might lose / misplace / break, then blame her for not being responsible enough, then constantly brings them up at the most random times. Like it's really just a lot of frustrating things my mom would unintentionally do, but it's not like they're that severe to a point where you'd have to constantly belittle her and blow things out of proportion. One of the biggest grudges though was when my mom and I were house hunting while my father was working out of the province, with him being aware of course, as we were ready to move into a house, and when we came across a decent enough house and secured a deal. At that point of house searching we were getting frustrated with our options and he literally said just pick anyone within our budget. He came back to give it a look only to be very dissatisfied with our choice. We proceeded to buy the house anyway and at a good price since it needed some work, and every time something needed repair he would gaslight her, saying it's all her fault for choosing this house, and all of this is on her, etc etc. This went on for years. Anyway, after some time he sort of chilled out about the house situation and the atmosphere stayed pretty calm for a while. But now recently is where I've lost all respect for him. Basically he's not working anymore, and my mom is one of the hardest working persons I know. She wakes up at 6 AM then comes back home at 9 PM and doesn't even come home to a cooked meal or a hi how was your day. She doesn't wake up with lunch prepared for her. It's like they're complete strangers in this house. She's too afraid to try to talk to him because it will always end in an argument without any sort of resolution, and I'm really starting to worry for her mental health as I know it's really messing her up. It's not even about something she's done for him to be like this, it's just how he is now towards her. It's like the new normal for him. The littlest thing could trigger him and back he goes to being condescending. I grew up not being able to communicate properly with my dad because he'd never talk about his emotions with me, so that's why I don't have that sort of comfort to speak to him, even until now. We literally just do small talk. I'm so tired and frustrated with the way he treats her because she doesn't deserve this, especially with how much she's been through with him and how hard she's working nowadays. She's an amazing woman and she'd try here and there to play around with my dad to kind of break his pride, but he never gives in. It's like he has his own reality and can't seem to see the bigger picture and how he's really taking her for granted. Guess I just needed to vent, but I don't really know what to do. I've asked her to try counseling, but they don't believe in that kind of stuff. I'm not close at all to my dad to talk about it with him either. I've asked her to maybe just leave, but she's not up for that idea right now. I just don't know what other options I have anymore. Too long didn't read. I'm losing respect for my father who mentally tortures my mom who doesn't deserve it, and I'm starting to worry for her mental health and I don't really know what to do. Edit. Thank you to everyone who took the time to comment and give me some advice on this matter. I appreciate it deeply and I apologize for not being able to reply to all the comments, but I appreciate each one. Also, for those who are going through the same thing, we are in this together, and my mom told me there's always a solution to a problem. It'll just take some time. Smile. Ask your mom if she'd be willing to read a book on complicated relationship dynamics if it would improve her marriage. If she agrees, get her a copy of Lundy Bancroft's Why Does He Do That? If you Google it, there's a free PDF. Abuse over long periods of time breaks you down psychologically. It becomes normalized and you lose all sense of self. She probably literally cannot fight for herself right now. She needs some help contextualizing and denormalizing her situation before she could do so. You moving out and ending your relationship with your father could also help your mother. If she sees you deciding to go no contact and realizing that tying herself to him sacrifices that relationship with you, it might give her the strength to get out. In the short term, Op might also try to make things a bit easier on mom. Cook some meals etc. so she has some space to breathe and think. Wow, this post hit home. You basically described my parents, and let me tell you, I lost respect for my father at the early age of 10 and he hasn't changed at all. I've been in your situation. In my case, both of my parents could be super mean to each other. My dad would comment on my mom's weight and intelligence. My mom would call him names for making small mistakes and would hold grudges forever. When I was growing up, I often tried to play peacemaker. I didn't understand how they could be yelling awful things at each other one evening, then act like nothing happened the next morning. It was pretty traumatizing for me and something I still haven't quite forgiven them for. Anyway, it came down to me realizing at some point that I'm an adult and I have my own voice. I don't have to be a peacemaker. I can speak my mind when someone treats a person I love poorly. One time, we were at a family party and my dad started making rude comments about how my mom shouldn't eat any cake because of her weight. I literally called him out on it then and there. I said that he doesn't get to dictate what she's eating and how would he feel if someone said that to him. He kind of smirked but shut up about it and stopped with those comments in the future. Another time, he was drunk and acting very inappropriate with my mom's, also married, cousin. I pulled him aside and said he was being extremely rude and embarrassing himself. Calling him out on the inappropriateness is something no one had ever done, so he was shocked hearing it from his daughter, but again, he stopped. Anyway, the point is that you need to speak up for your mom because you know he treats her poorly. She might be so beaten down that she doesn't have a voice, but you do. I have to start by saying that I'm glad you recognize these behaviors. Sometimes children see these behaviors and think they're normal, then perpetuate the cycle in their own relationships, by no fault of their own. Thank you for recognizing them and wanting to change them. As for your situation, I'm not sure what advice to give. I'm not sure if you and your mom are in a position to get out and leave your dad, but if she's not willing to, you can't really force her. I'd suggest counseling for you and her, at least to figure out ways to appropriately cope, because it doesn't sound like your dad will change. Maybe just plant the seeds and tell your mom that this treatment isn't normal, and that she shouldn't accept it. But in the end, you can't force someone to help themselves. As bad as it sounds, focus on helping yourself and getting into a position where you can leave. That way, if she ever wants to leave, you can help her. Thank you for recognizing this toxic relationship and wanting to help. Your relationships in life will be infinitely better with your knowledge. Good luck, heart. This makes me sad. My mom is in the same boat, pensive face. I, F27, don't know how to break up with my boyfriend. M30. We are currently living together and have another 2 months left on our lease. I just bought a house, so I should be able to move in next month. We have been together for 6 years and this has been my longest relationship I've ever been in, so I'm pretty attached to him. He has a 9-year-old daughter who is actually well behaved and I haven't had an issue with her. I'm only mentioning her because I was going to bring up a story in a bit. We both have done some messed up things throughout our relationship. In the beginning of the relationship I was young and didn't take relationships too seriously. I was 21 when we started dating. I broke up and got back together with him 3 times over the first 2 years and realized I was acting childish for playing that type of game. I know that hurt him a lot, but I haven't broken up with him since then or even threatened to break up with him. I started taking the relationship more seriously and he completely took me for granted and even said it to my face. I would take his daughter to school on my days off, cook them meals, do 80% of the household chores, pay for 50% of all the bills, and even plan surprise dates for us, like skydiving, going to Hawaii, Peru, Canada, jet skiing, etc. I like excitement, and even family trips, so his daughter is included. I'm not the slightest high maintenance, need his money, or require a lot of attention. But I do like affection, being appreciated and knowing I can count on him. But there was this one time, about 2 years ago, where my car broke down, literally down the street from our apartment, and I called him to see if he can help me push the car back to our apartment and he said no. because his daughter just got out of the shower and didn't want to bring her along because it was already kind of late or leave her at the house alone. She was 7 at the time and my car was literally down the street. A stranger ended up pulling over and helped me push it down the street. I wanted to go on vacation, just the two of us, for my birthday, but he said he didn't have enough PTO to go, and then he ended up going on vacation with his friend 2 months later. He said I make my birthday a big deal and he doesn't get why I have to make him feel bad about it. About a year ago he requested one of his exes on FB and told me he wanted her there as a backup in case we broke up again. He ended up deleting her after we talked about it. He didn't message her or anything but would like some of her posts. He told me he fantasized about one of my cousins before. And I've read that, that's a thing in some relationships. I'd why he felt the need to tell me. Even though all of these things have made me super sad and upset, he's never actually done something that would make me think he's cheating. He recently told me that he knows he's not the best boyfriend and he's coasting by, and he knows it's not fair to me. I started crying when he said this and said I didn't know what the point of this relationship is, but he said he wants to work on it and not break up. This was about a week ago. I honestly don't think anything is going to change. I feel like he doesn't respect me or my feelings, and I want to leave but don't know how to. And I don't know why. There isn't even anything special about our relationship, but I do love him still for some reason and don't want anything bad to happen to him. I think I'm just used to his company. Like I said, we have 2 months left on this lease and I have 2 bills under my name. And I don't know if I should put up with it for these next 2 months, because when he's upset he's very unreasonable and I don't want to make things harder than they have to be. Too long didn't read. I want to break up with my boyfriend. He knows he isn't the best boyfriend to me and is just coasting by, but I don't know how to break things off. So most rentals require 60 days notice, so if your lease is up in about that time, what's the current plan with him once the lease is up? We already decided that we were going to live separately after this lease is up. We put in the notice, he's going to rent an apartment after, and I'm moving into a house I just bought. But he doesn't know that I'm planning on ending this relationship once I have nothing attaching me to him anymore. You could wait it out and prepare yourself mentally. Stop having sex with him, envision your future without him, things you want to do, plan things you can look forward to, reach out to friends and family. It'll be hard, but you already have a house lined up, you will separate physically soon. It'll probably be easier then. If you have no other place to go, I would definitely wait and tell him. He sounds a bit toxic, and you sound exhausted. Giving him heads up would give him time to try and persuade you not to leave, and you don't need that. If you do have friends and family that could accommodate you in the meantime, that might be an option you could explore. I don't think it would be a bad idea to get out of there as soon as possible. But if you can't, tread carefully. Don't tell him, just prepare. As for what you will tell him, being unhappy with him is reason enough. You can tell him all your problems with him if you really want, but you don't have to. You can just tell him this is it and leave. You owe him nothing. Wish you the best of luck. Thank you. I am exhausted. I think my best bet will be to tread carefully and prepare myself until I am fully out. I don't really have anywhere else to go. But you're right, giving him a heads up will give him a chance to try to persuade me to stay. Thank you again for taking time to write that. My boyfriend likes pictures of half-naked women on Instagram. Do I have a valid reason to be upset? My 23 boyfriend, 26, likes pictures of these half-naked women that he personally knows on Instagram, and I can't help but feel upset about it. I wouldn't mind if they were pictures of well-known models or celebrities, but he knows these women. Also, I think it mainly upsets me because he doesn't even click like on the photos I post, and he also doesn't have any pictures of him and I on his profile. So I feel stupid. I understand just because he's with me, he isn't going to stop finding other women attractive. But why does he need to pretty much let the woman in the picture know, hey, I like what I see? Why can't he just appreciate the picture and keep scrolling? I feel like it's disrespectful. Too long didn't read. It makes me upset that my boyfriend likes these half-naked photos of women he knows but won't even like my pictures or post any pictures with me.